After the success of the first Batman movie and creating what was known as a pop culture phenomenon back in the late 80s, Tim Burton and Michael Keaton return to try and capture lightning in a bottle yet again, but this time it was going to be darker than the last movie and have two main villains this time around, with the monstrous penguin and the sexy Catwoman. And so, I give to you this is a live action superhero film that comes in at 126 minutes and debuted into cinemas on the 19th of June 1992. The movie was written by Daniel Waters and was directed by Tim Burton. It was released on a DVD on the 25th of March 1997 and on Blu-ray on the 19th of May 2009, as well as on 4K HD on the 4th of June 2019. This story is set during the Christmas season, when out of the sewers comes the deformed outcast known as the Penguin, and his gang of circus freaks aim to wreak havoc on Gotham. And while Batman fights to stop them, another villain emerges, the seductive and vengeful Catwoman, in which she joins forces with the Penguin to turn Batman into what he hates the most: them. Can Batman defeat the deadly duo, and can he bring order back to Gotham City for the holidays?
I hate the holidays.
Look, this time around, the script and the story just delves deeper into those elements of duality and social alienation that are really prominent throughout the script, which goes to, adding more layers of complexity to our three main characters and the overall narrative of the movie. For me, they did a great job on the exploration of Batman's sort of internal struggles between his duality and having a meaningful relationship with someone. Which is funny because he ends up falling for Selina, who at the same time is going through her own issues of duality and struggles to have a relationship. And that dynamic leads to some great moments throughout the film as they kind of try to navigate how and if they could really make this work. The script managed to also show our three main characters sort of go through moments and scenarios where the lines kind of get blurred between someone as a hero and someone as a villain, really depending on your perspective, which does sort of elevate the storytelling in this movie beyond, say, the typical superhero outings at the time. For this movie's script, its strength lies in its ability to balance the dark and humour with some witty, sharp, and sometimes sexually charged dialogue, which keeps the audience engaged, providing moments of levity amongst the sort of grim backdrop that is Gotham City. Look, overall, the script successfully fleshes out our main characters by giving them depth beyond their comic book origins and manages to maintain a great sort of pace and keeps you entertained and intrigued from start to finish. It's a great follow-up to the first outing, and that's why I'm definitely going to give this a 29 out of 30.
Don't hurt us, lady. Our take-home's less than 300.
You're overpaid. Hit the road.
As like the first movie, this is not a direct adaptation of any specific comic book storyline, but with this movie, Tim Burton told the writer Daniel Waters to really discard any traditional comic book ideas of pretty much our two main villains and focus on trying to reinvent the characters' origins to be a combination of, say, tragic and sympathetic and almost devious all in one. Yet again, Tim Burton manages to turn Gotham City into a character all its own, with the same gothic modern atmosphere from the first film, but with even more of a stylized Art Deco edge to its sort of cityscapes, from the buildings to the statues to even Batman's costume.
He looks good. Really good.
Now, if we check out our cast listings here, as you can see, there are some great names here, especially from the 90s. Across the board, look, everyone brought their A game for sure. But for me, we're really here to focus on probably our four main stars of the movie, and we'll start with Mr. Michael Keaton as he returns to the role of Batman after the success of winning over the fans in the first film. And in this one, he really continues to bring even more brooding intensity and depth to the character this time around. What he does so well is his ability to have this captivating blend of strength and vulnerability on screen with his intense stares and his commanding presence, which really is what makes this role for Keating, I mean, so iconic for him. Now, if we look at Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, she brings an incredible blend of sensuality, strength, and unpredictability to the character, and she literally steals the show every time that she's on screen. And the way she sort of navigates the evolution of Selena Kyle from that meek and timid secretary to this fierce and independent Catwoman is really a masterclass in character development. But let's not forget the chemistry Pfeiffer and Keaton have on screen. It just adds another layer of complexity to the narrative of these two characters really trying to figure each other out.
I don't know. I can't figure women out.
Danny DeVito's performance as the Penguin is just great in a grotesque and captivating way, shall we say. DeVito transforms into the devious Oswald Cobblepot with a dedication to the role that really brings this iconic villain to life in a way that is both unsettling and mesmerizing at the same time. He manages to fully commit to the character, particularly his mannerisms, from like that distinctive little waddle he has to like those guttural grunts. He really injects the Penguin with a real tragic humanity that, you know, elicits both sympathy and repulsion. But for me, I have always felt the main villain of this movie is actually Christopher Walken as Max Schreck. And what sets Walken apart in this role is his ability to balance Schreck's public facade of a wealthy, benevolent businessman with the character's underlying malevolence and hidden agenda. I mean, Walken gives Schreck a charisma that is both alluring and foreboding, creating a character who operates in the shadows while maintaining this real polished exterior to pretty much everyone else, like in the general public. Even though the film is filled with some larger-than-life characters, I still think Walken's Schreck really stands out as a nuanced and multifaceted antagonist, which makes Schreck a real memorable addition to the cast. And plus, who doesn't love Christopher Walken? I know I do. I love some Christopher Walken. Anyway, look, it's not hard at all to give this a score of, yeah, you probably already guessed it, 20 out of 20.
Women. Nothing surprises me, Chip. Except your late mother.
Okay, if we look at the case, it's the same again, and we'll probably discuss this a few times when we go through the next lots as well, is just the logo. And as iconic as that is there's not a lot going on. So it's great in one sense, but then there's nothing to really sort of critique here, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing for me to go, oh, look at this, look at that. It's just the logo. Don't get me wrong, that's an iconic logo that you saw everywhere when the movie came out, but it's still just the logo. So yeah, I'm really of two minds about it. And of course on the side, look, on the spine there, they've gone with that text. Like I said, when you get all the movies together, looks great. But on its own, if you just had it sitting somewhere, you probably wouldn't notice it. It doesn't really pop, shall we say. And on the back, well, same again as the last one. We've got a couple of photos this time, but it's just basically just all the jargon and everything that's on the disc inside. Now, if we look at the disc, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that. That's a great shot with all the cast and everything. That's the kind of photo I'd love on the front. Actually, actually, that would have looked good. You remember, um, I'm sure people do remember, I know I do, there was that iconic poster, which I'll just pop up here briefly, with the three of them, the bat, the cat, and the penguin. I reckon that would look good. I always thought that looked good. But anyway, at least we get to see something nicer on the disc other than the logo. Overall, like I said, it's iconic, but it's very standard. There's not a lot going on. So for that, I'm probably just going to give it a 7 out of 10.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much younger.
Okay, so yet again, this thing is packed with special features, and they include audio commentary, Beyond Batman, Shadows of the Batman, the cinematic saga of the Dark Knight, Part 4, The Bat, the Cat, and the Penguin, Batman Returns, The Villains, Batman Returns, The Heroes, music video, and the trailer. Whew, got through it again. There are so many great featurettes on here. I think it's like the first one. It takes longer to watch all the special features than it does the bloody movie. But there are so many great insights into the movie and the actors that if you really love the movie, you definitely got to check out all the special features that are on here, which I did, and I enjoyed every one of them. And look, as this is packed to the brim with special features, just like the first one was, you probably guessed it, I'm definitely going to give this a 10 out of 10.
Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed up like Batman?
Because he is Batman, you moron.
Okay, so I'll bring up the Rotten Tomatoes scorecard here, and as you can see, the critics came in at 81%, while the audience score was only 73%. Look, I was hoping for higher, but there was definitely one trend I saw when I was reading through some of the reviews, and that was it was all about Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer. And I think, geez, what about Keating, and Walken? Hell, these guys were in the movie too. Did everyone forget them? They put in some pretty great performances. Anyway, so look, if we round it up, we get a score of, and a decent score at that, of 8 out of 10.
Mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it.
So look, I remember going to see this in the cinemas when it first came out, and look, I loved it. It was awesome. As by that time too, when I saw this movie at the cinemas, I was in real full-on comic book fandom, where I was literally buying, reading, watching, and just absorbing everything comic book related at that time. And after the success of the first Batman movie, they went full on again with the merch this time as well. And I got sucked up in it, and I did buy a fair bit of stuff. But I have since sold a lot of that stuff over the years as I've downsized some of my collection. But look, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here. Look, this movie is probably my favorite out of the 4 Batman movies, as I love the darker tone to the movies and all of the characters in this movie. Even though, like, for me personally, the Riddler is my favorite villain, I really enjoyed both Catwoman and the Penguin in this movie, but for different reasons, if you know what I mean.
She's a very sexy woman.
Look, this movie may not really adhere strictly to the traditional Batman tropes, but for me, it's those deviations from them that's this movie's strength. Probably more so in, how can I say, the unconventional take on those 2 iconic villains, offering a real fresh perspective on them, and both giving them a real tragic story that sort of fleshed them out more than, say, they probably had ever been in the comic books. And I think that is what I really like seeing in this movie, was that. And I think, with all these amazing actors paired with Burton's vision, it really makes the Batman film what will be probably one of the benchmarks for any Batman films that come after it for years to come. Now, with that, I am going to give it, of course you probably already guessed it, that's right, A 20 out of 20.
Power surplus, Bruce. Shame on you. No such thing. One can never have too much power.
Okay, if we look at collectability, and of course, it's the same scores as last time. 5 for collectability. If you don't have this in your collection, you don't have a collection. I'm sorry. You just really need to go out and buy it. There's just no two ways about it. So it's definitely got to be in your collection. And as far as availability, same again. There are so many copies of DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K out there that honestly, it's not hard. You'd probably trip over a copy if you walk down the street. That's how common it is. But yeah, I digress. It definitely has to be in your collection, and it's not hard to find. Now, if we look at your average price, you're looking at somewhere between the $6 to $14 mark for a DVD. But if you're going to go for Blu-ray, you're probably looking at somewhere between the $11 to $28 mark. But if you're going to go out and splurge and get that 4K HD, that one comes in at $26 to about $49 depending on where you shop. And that is all as of this video. Now for the final score. We get a grand total of 94 out of 100. Wow, that just pipped Batman by 1 point. But look, that's because both are fantastic movies and they're both well-deserved scores. Look, whether you like Batman more or you like Batman Returns more, your collection is not complete unless you get that pigeon pair and have them both in your collection, because whether you're a casual fan or a hardcore collector like myself, everyone needs both of those in their collection.
Meow.
Hey, so if you like this video, you want to see some more of my reviews, why don't you click that one there? Oh, maybe you want to see some of my collection updates. Got you covered too. Why don't you click that one there? And don't forget to do the most important thing. Throw me a like, and don't forget to hit that subscription button on the way out. It really does help. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.